Robert Service was renowned as a writer of great epic recitations about life during the Klondike gold rush in 1896. He wasn't a miner himself, he actually worked in a bank, but he described very accurately the conditions that some of those miners put up with. In 1907 he published his book of poetry, and from his book two particular recitations have become very popular over the years, and most people have heard of them, and an awful lot of people know one or two lines, and that's it. And those two recitations were the Shooting of Dan McGrew and the Cremation of Sam McGee. Well, this is my version of the Shooting of Dan McGrew. A group of boys were whooping it up in a Malamute saloon. The kid that handled the music box was hitting a ragtime tune, and at the back of the bar in a solo game sat dangerous Dan McGrew, and watching his look was his light of love, the lady that's known as Lou. When out of the night, which was 50 below, and into the din and the glare, there stumbled a miner, fresh from the creeks, dog dirty, and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with one foot in the grave, and scarcely the strength of a louse, yet he tilted his poke of thrust on the bar, and he called for drinks for the house. There was none could place that stranger's face, though we searched ourselves for a clue. But we drank his health, and the last to drink was dangerous Dan McGrew. Now there's men that somehow grip your eyes and hold them hard in a spell. Such was he. He looked to me like a man who had lived in hell, with a face most hair and the dreary stare of a dog whose day is done. As he watered the green stuff in his glass, the drops fell one by one. Then I got a figuring how he was, and I wondered what he'd do, and I turned my head, and there watching him was the lady that's known as Lou. His eyes went rubbering around the room. He seemed in a kind of daze, till at last that old piano fell in the way of his wandering gaze. The ragtime kid was having a drink. There was nobody else on the stool, and the stranger stumbled across the room, and he flopped down there like a fool. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat, and I saw him sway. Then he gripped the keys with his talon hands. My God, but that man could play. Were you ever out in the great alone, when the moon is awful clear and the icy mountains hem you in with a silence you could most hear, and only the call of the timber wolf as you camped there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a cold, stark world, clean made for that muck called gold, while high overhead, green, yellow, and red, the north lights streak in bars. Now you got a hunch of what that music meant. Hunger, night, and the stars. But not the hunger of the belly kind, that's banished by bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of hungry men for a home and all that it means, for a fireside far from the cares that are, 4 walls and a roof above, but oh how cramful of cosy joy and crowned with a woman's love. A woman dearer than all the world, and truer is heaven is true. My God, how ghastly she looks through her rouge, the lady that's known as Lou. Then on a sudden the music changed, so soft that you scarce could hear, but you felt that your life had been looted clean of all that you once held dear, that someone had stolen the woman you love, and her love was a devil's lie, that your guts had gone. It was best for you to crawl away and die. 'Twas the crowning cry of a heart's despair, and it chilled you through and through. I think you'll make it a spread brazier, said dangerous Dan McGrew. The music almost died away. Then it burst like a pent-up flood, and it seemed to say, repay, repay. My eyes were blind with blood, and the thought came back of an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen lash. And the lust awoke to kill, to kill, and the music stopped with a crash. And the stranger turned, and his eyes they burned in a most peculiar way, in his buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt. He sat, and I saw him sway. Then his lips went in a kind of grin, and he spoke, and his voice was calm. And boys, says he, you don't know me, and none of you give a damn. But I want to state, and my words are straight, and I bet my poke they're true. One of you is a hound of hell, and that one is Dan McGrew. Well, I ducked my head, and the lights went out, and two guns blazed in the dark, and a woman screamed, and the lights went up. Two men lay stiff and stark, pitched on his head, and filled full of lead was dangerous Dan McGrew, while the man from the creeks lay clutched to the breast of the lady that's known as Lou. Well, these are the simple facts of the case, and I guess I ought to know. They say that the stranger was crazed with hooch. I ain't denying that's so. Now, I ain't as wise as those lawyer guys, but just between us few, the woman that kissed him and pinched his poke was the lady that's known as Lou. Thank you for watching.